I really feel introduced.
Yeah. As you see, we are becoming more and more professional.
Do you need this? This is.
No,
I
okay.
don't have anything else.
No, I don't need anything.
You don't need
it's
it. Okay.
So, thank you. Before we do what we are mostly here to do, which is electing our Spitzenkandidaten, our leading candidates, I wanted to give the floor to two very important people for the family. And the first one is Georges Gilles. He's Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Mobility and the National Railway Company. He's a committed politician. He's member of the family since forever. Today, as Deputy Prime Minister, he's fully committed to a federal government that is the greener that Belgium ever had. As a minister, he's engaged towards a mobility that binds all Belgium together. Coming from the non-profit sector, Georges considers it essential to provide a link between civil society, citizens, and their representative. And I give you the floor, Georges, please.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having invited me in Lyon. It's so good to be here and to see so many friendly faces and so many Greens ready to change the world. Then, for those who don't know me, my name is George, and I'm lucky enough to be Deputy Prime Minister in charge of mobility in the Belgian federal government since 3 years and 4 months now. Together with my colleague from the Flemish Greens, Petra, we are representing the two Belgian Green parties in a government with 7 parties, 2 liberals, 2 social democrats, 1 Christian Democrat, and then 2 Greens. Welcome in Belgium. We had to wait for more than 20 years after our forced participation to come back in a federal Belgian government. The most green government ever in the Belgian history, said our liberal prime minister when he presented our hard-negotiated government program in November 2020. He was right, and I will come back on it. But I've also to admit that it's not so difficult to be greener than any other Belgian government before. And I can also admit that it must be possible to do better, to be ever greener in the future. But it's quite something. And that's the reason why our General Assembly decided with a great and huge majority to embark on this adventure. Is it easy? Certainly not. But we will talk about that another time. This is neither the time nor the place to complain, and if it was so easy, it wouldn't have been so funny. Are there any more complicated issues for us? Yes, migration, aviation, increasing the defense budget, nuclear, but politics isn't about simple things. Is it exciting? Is it useful? Yes, it is. Certainly, we are delivering on a lot of issues. Are we perfect? Certainly not, but we do more than our best. Are our partners loyal and cooperative? I think you can guess the answer. But we are hard negotiators too, and it was our responsibility, as long as our electoral score allowed us to do so, to decide to work with them to make progress on the issues that are essential for the Greens and to avoid traditional parties making too many bad decisions. Is the international context favorable for the ecologists? We have to admit that 2024, after COVID with war in Ukraine, with massacre of innocents in Israel or Gaza is not so evident for us. Not so as 2019 and the student striking for climate. But it's another good reason to keep fighting for ideas, in fact. Can we find partners in other countries? Sometimes not. When Salvini, the leader of the Italian far right, joins the Italian government and the European Council of Transport Minister with an objective that is exactly the opposite of mine. I want to connect Europeans and make their mobility a freedom. He wants to close its border and prevent boats of people who are simply looking for a better life from landing on the Italian coast. But sometimes, yes, we can find partners. When I work with Leonor, Austria, François, Luxembourg, Imond, Ireland, in the same European Council of Transport Ministers to put the train back on track, or to promote active mobility. Or when I meet the leaders of the Polish Green, and a few weeks later, I learned that they are joining a government for the first time, a pro-European government, and that Ursula will be in charge of climate policy. Is there a way and a need to do better that we have achieved in 3 years? Of course there is. That's for next time. We'll be even more ready to do because we have learned a lot. But I think I can already say that we have achieved results we can be proud of, and which should inspire us as we look ahead to the crucial elections in June. We, the Greens, have the right answer to current crisis. The future needs Greens, and the Greens are the future. Not only by ourselves, because we can't do everything on our own, but in cooperation with other Democrats to change society, whether in opposition, to monitor and put new issues on the agenda, or in government to implement the change that is needed. Since our historic victory in 2019, we have been delivering this answer at both European and national levels. We have succeeded to put climate transition, nature, biodiversity, renewable energy, green investment at the European agenda. In Belgium, in this coalition of 7 parties, we achieved over the past years significant green successes. Our green minister in charge of energy, Tin, is closing nuclear power plants and tripling wind power in the North Sea in order to provide more green and affordable energy and a security of supply for all Belgium. Our Green Minister of Climate, Zakia, is leading a European delegation in international negotiation, is boosting circular economy, and has managed to include the crime of ecocide in Belgian legislation. Green regional ministers in Wallonia and Brussels are doing a tremendous job to insulate buildings, plant trees, make public transport free for young people, build new bike lanes, and protect biodiversity as well as animal welfare. And while those green steps are evident, we can also be proud of our social achievement. Thanks to the green presence in the federal government, we made psychological care cheaper, raised minimum wages, and pulled up minimum pensions and benefits. No other government has succeeded in doing so in the past 20 years. This has improved the daily lives of hundreds of thousands of vulnerable people. During the energy crisis, we protected more than 2 million Belgians against energy poverty, while social tariff by financing it with the excess profit from the energy sector. Thanks to our secretaries in charge, state secretaries in charge of equality between women and men, we have passed a bill to stop feminicide and have opened all over Belgium treatment centers for the sexual violence to which women are all too often subjected. As Federal Minister of Mobility, I turned a year-long degradation of our national railways into a long-term vision and billions of new investment. Night trains are making their comeback in Europe, and Brussels is its natural hub. And it's this challenge, Leonor from Austria shows us the way with OBB, the Austrian railway company, thanks to her. I've reformed our highway code to give more space to active road users, pedestrians and cyclists, and to challenge the central role reserved for the queen car. And together with Karima Delli, we paved the way for the first EU cycling strategy that will be officially adopted in April. And we have, thanks for the bike, and we have reinforced democracy by opening up parliaments, creating committees open to citizens, relying on cooperation rather than competition, and granting the right to vote at 16 in European elections. Those concrete green victories are unprecedented. We would have never dreamed of them 5 years ago. We can be proud of this achievement. But, dear friends, elections are not won with past achievement, and rightfully so. This is what our voters wanted from us in 2019. So, what are we offering in 2024? We need to go even further. The response of the crisis in agriculture must not be opposed on environmental measures, as the conservative parties are proposing, but a radical review of free trade agreements. We must reject the continuation of the Mercosur agreement and not signing new free trade agreements is one thing, but we also need to review existing free trade agreements to ensure fair trade, a decent income for farmers, and a better protection of environment. This is the same with the Green Deal. Our primary goal as ecologists is to preserve and accelerate the Green Deal, where the liberals and conservatives want to put it on hold or even to scrap it. But more than a green transition, we need to go further by proposing a green and just transition. With the rise of extremism and populism, I believe that addressing the social crisis will be key in this coming election, because more than purchasing power, people want the power to live with dignity. And I'm happy to read the Green Manifesto in the Green Manifesto that the fight against poverty, for affordable energy and using policy are central. Dear friend, I finished. For the Belgian election, also in June, our slogan is choose the future. Choosing the future means choosing the green. And the coming months will be busy ones. We will face attacks, bad faith, and lies. But with the record we have and the proposition we make, we can make the difference for a green and just society. We have shown since 40 years, and especially in the last 5 years, that we can do it. and we can do it again in the future, and do it even better, because we learn from our struggles, our victories, and our defeats. Acting now will be far less costly than acting later or too late. Acting now will enable us to take advantage of the opportunities offered by the transition. Acting now means preserving democracy, the ability to live together in a peaceful world where everyone respects each other. Acting now is the only way to save the planet and ensure a good quality of life for our children and grandchildren. Our project is worth fighting for. We can do it. I wish you courage, perseverance, lucidity, intelligence, and resilience in the campaign. More than ever, every vote will count. The world needs the Green, and the Greens need you. Thank you.
So the last person I'm going to call on stage before we finally vote on the leading candidates is, before being an amazing politician and a pillar of the EGP, a very dear friend, and I think he's a very dear friend of a lot of people here, because it's just impossible not to love this person. He served as an MEP from 2014, and he left the European Parliament in 2023. Everybody was completely happy that he was leaving, but desperate, completely desperate to see him leaving. But he did it for a good reason, because he became the Minister for Culture in the Spanish government. I'm calling on stage Ernest Urtasun.
Ça va.
Good morning, everyone. Well, as you can imagine, it's a bit with a lot of emotion that I'm taking the floor this morning with you. But the first thing I want to tell you is that I feel extremely proud to see so many green people around Europe gathering in Lyon, ready to pick up the fight for the next European election and have a great result. We will rock it, I'm sure. We will. Look, when we started the whole adventure of Sumar in Spain some months ago, it was around, I have already forgotten, maybe June, even a bit earlier. Everybody had the impression in Spain that when the elections were called, that nothing was possible, that the right wing was going to win. And actually, I remember myself going around the corridors of the European Parliament, and every single person I was crossing was telling me, "I'm sorry, you're next in line. I'm sorry, you're going to get the far right in government." But I think there's a strong Spanish lesson for the whole Europe after what happened the last months. If we organize, if we fight, we can beat the far right and have progressive governments in Europe. We can do it. We can do it. And this is the lesson for July. I think we can absolutely do it. And we, the Greens, will be the driving force making the next European Parliament have a progressive majority. I'm sure we will manage to do it. Look, I think as any coalition government, we have our problems, our discussions with our partners. It's not always easy to be in government with the Social Democrats. I think lots of you have that experience in your country. But I think we're managing to do lots of important things. And I'm extremely proud when I go outside Spain and explain what we're doing to say that, for instance, after so many years of neoliberal policies in my country, we have managed to raise the minimum statutory salary by more than 50% in the last 3 years. More than 50%. Under the leadership of Yolanda Díaz. Now we are in charge of health. You know that for many years in Spain, during the austerity years, public health was massively cut. And we had one of the best public health systems in the country, in Europe in the last years, but austerity really made huge damage to our health system. And now I'm very proud to say that we have one minister from Sumar in charge of the health system, which is massively investing again in reinforcing public health in our country. And we are extremely proud of doing it. And we are investing in renewables more than ever. And I think that also there's another lesson from Spain in the last year which is important. For many years we've been told that if we were doing policies in favor of the weakest, if we were investing massively in renewables, we were going to put public finances in danger. This is the whole mantra of the neoliberals. You cannot have massive investments in renewables, you cannot reinforce your social system, you cannot raise your minimum wage because you put in danger the economy. But we have been doing all these policies in the last months, and Spain is still one of the best performing economies in the whole EU. So we actually, the neoliberals are wrong. A progressive policy mix that fights climate change and secures social justice is important. But of course, now I think at the level of the EU, we will have strong challenges. And I think that one of the, and I'm going to mention two, which I think are extremely important. One, I think, is that the European Green Deal is under attack. We've seen that in the European Parliament. I've been in the European Parliament until November. And constantly, and Bas knows that very well, constantly does like to say that, well, we need to slow a bit down the transition is going too fast. And we are here to say that no, the transition is not going too fast. We are the ones that are going to guarantee a fair transition for everyone that leaves nobody behind, but the transition needs to accelerate because the planet cannot wait, and all the data that we have from the United Nations say we cannot stop this. We cannot stop this. And sometimes it is in our responsibility also to say and to denounce when we have the so-called greenwashing from some political forces. And look, in our coalition, we are living that every day. The Social Democrats say they are an ecological force that want to fight for climate justice, but on the other hand, during this week, we have had a huge discussion with our partners in government because they want to continue enlarging the airport of Madrid. And we are the ones saying that this is completely incompatible with fighting climate change. We cannot defend climate change on Saturday and on Sunday develop policies that are completely on the contrary of what needs to be done. So yes, we are the ones that are going to accelerate the transition, and that the ones that we are going to make it fair. And on the other hand, the second big threat for the next cycle of the European elections is the threat of the return of austerity. And I'm extremely worried about that. I'm very happy to see our Green Group in the European Parliament denouncing that we're going towards a failed reform of the fiscal rules at the EU. And we are also the ones who are going to say that there's no possibility of making the green transition if we go back to the old rules that impose austerity to our member states. This is not possible. Impossible. And this is something that in these European elections we need to be very outspoken. No, we do not want to continue and repeat the mistakes we did 10 years ago, and this is the period when I began doing my job at the European Parliament, when we developed the Troika, when we developed the cuts to social services. No, the Greens will be the ones that will secure that these mistakes do not happen again at the European level. This is going to be also our role in this European election. And finally, and I'm going to end here, I think we are the ones who will secure the Green Deal, the ones who will fight austerity, but we are a key driving force also in defending democracy in the EU. I'm very happy and very proud to see what we have achieved in the last years in the European Parliament, being the ones defending our partners in Hungary, our partners in Poland, our partners who were on the threat because of their civil rights were being cut everywhere. And also, as a Minister of Culture, I'm discussing this a lot with our other Ministers of Culture. By the way, we have lots of Green Ministers of Culture, which is something we have to be very proud of. And we are discussing a lot with the other Ministers of Culture from the Greens to see how we can reinforce our cultural values to defend democracy in the EU, which is going to be also one of the key battles that we will have in the next months. I will end I will end with something which is very important to me. Look, I've been a European parliamentarian for 9 years. Now I'm back to national politics with lots of projects and trying to represent all of you also in Spain, because I'm trying to bring all the green values in Spain. But I want to tell you something. We need to be very proud of who we are, what do we do, and what we achieve. Europe needs us. Europe needs our family. Europe needs this wonderful, united green family that is going to shape its future. So let's work together, let's fight together, and let's make the next European election a huge green success. Let's go for it. Thank you.
And indeed, we are almost ready to head to the voting. But before that, it's the moment for the family picture, a big group picture of all the people on stage. So may I ask you to gather in the center of the stage, and I'll see where the photographers are. You're there. So we'll try to direct them. And this is for the audience. Don't leave the room, because we need you. People tend to smile more spontaneously when you give them a really warm and long applause. So please do it now. Jean, come on front. Big cheers for everyone. Big signs, big high, courage everyone. All right, so you are all allowed to go back to the room. And now, I will ask you again, don't leave the room and bear with me, because there's going to be a big setup change behind me. So what we suggest now is you to rest your hands a little bit, because you're going to be applauding much more later on. So we prepared a green quiz for you, just like an intermezzo, light intermezzo, while we change all the stage setup. And while we get ready for actually the big vote, the big election of the leading candidates. So you see on the screen behind me, there's a QR code. Use your smartphone to connect to the quiz. Oh, I see that many people are joining already. Little thumbs showing up. If the QR code doesn't work, don't hesitate using the code on top of the screen, menti.com, that's where you will find it. And we'll test your knowledge about the history of the Greens. Nothing serious. If it doesn't work immediately, don't worry. We won't use the same device for the election anyway, so it's really an intermezzo. So I see that people are joining us. Let's wait a little bit more before we start with the first question. So, how is it looking? How is it going? Almost 200 players already. Good, that's good. So more to come, more to join. Yeah, fine. So you all need to choose a name, an image to represent you. A lot of dragons, a few crocodiles. More and more people joining. It feels cozy up there. Well, I think it's time for the first question. Let's go to the first question. So, the quicker, the faster you enter the right answer, the more points you will get. How many members parties does the EGP have? So 4 options to that, 19, 29, 39, 49. We've got many answers. Almost ready. Everyone has voted. Let's check for the answer. What do we have? What do we have? What's the result of this first question? Okay, some people answered 1929, a lot for 39. Only 35 people answered 49, which is the right answer. 49 member parties. It's grown significantly in last years. That's why probably many of you didn't know. We're gaining strength, and that's great. So let's get to the next question. But let's first see leaderboard. Wow. First on top, you got Venture. Who's Venture? Where are you? Who's on top of the leaderboard? Lara, there you are. Let's give him a big applause and get to the next question. The next question is the following. So, here it is. Where is the Green Rave of FYEG taking place? Amsterdam, Berlin, Rome, or Belgrade? So how many good answers will we have this time? I can already tell you that the participant call is closed. So if you are not registered yet for the rave, it's too late. Everyone has voted. Let's check. Do you think you got the right answer? Yes, everybody does. Oh, we have 76 right answers for Rome. Well, some people seem to want to go to Amsterdam, maybe for next time. Let's keep it in mind. So let's have a look at the leaderboard. Venture is still on top. Joe is still second. So not much. Oh, yes, it changed. No, Paul is now first. Eleanor is second. Congratulations. I remind you, it's not only giving the right answer, it's also being fast at giving the right answer. So let's get to the next question. Third question out of 6. Which Green politician had a biblical nickname in the 2017 national election? Multiple choice. Jesse Klaver, Claudia Roth, Eamon Ryan, or Pekka Haavisto? Do you know this? So almost everyone has voted. You're fast, actually. You're quick answer. You're always welcome to join, even if you haven't been there for the first questions. Everyone has voted. So what's the result looking like? What's the reason? What's the answer for this third question? Let's check. We have 78 for Jesse Klaver. Yes, indeed. The Josiah. He's there with us at the Congress. Are you there? The Josiah, where are you? You're there. Hello. GroenLinks in the Netherlands. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to have a question about you. And so, how's the leaderboard looking like? And change again, Venture's back on top. Hello, congratulations. He's still there sitting in the corner. But now we are heading to the next question. 4 out of 6. And meanwhile, it seems that behind me, everyone is more or less ready or fully ready. You can also participate, you know. Don't hesitate taking your smartphone. When was the last time that Lyon hosted a European Green Congress? 82, 93, 2004, or 2015? So, what's your answer? Everyone has voted. Let's see what your answer is. Big silence now. Let's see what is the right answer and how many people knew it. Actually, it takes more time to get the results than to get your answers. 2015, 90 right answers. Congratulations to most of you. So that's very good. And here is the team picture. I think there are going to be more people on the picture this year. So let's see what's the leaderboard showing. Venture is still on top, or is there a change? No change. Oh, yes. Oh, Joe is back on top. It's really between the two of you. Who's Joe? Where are you? I don't see you. Well, congratulations. Let's get to the fifth question. And the fifth question is coming up. Who is the youngest sitting member of the European Parliament? Is it Avina, Kira Marie, Kim, or Nicholas? So, almost done. Everyone has voted. And I can tell you that that person is Kira Maria. At the age of 21 years, 3 months and 3 days, she's the youngest ever MEP. And the previous one was the German politician Ilka Schröder, who was 1 month older when she was elected in 1999. What's the leaderboard looking like? Let's see. Oh, we've got a new top. Vote Goat, Green Al, Eleanor, and Rasmus. That's the top 4 for this quiz right now. And we have a very, very last question for the quiz. And I'm quite sure that people who were there in Copenhagen will know what to answer. Which type of animal was famously featured during the party of the Copenhagen Congress? Was it snakes, birds, fish, or panda? Who was there in Copenhagen? Raise your hands. So normally you should know what type of animal was featured during the party of the Copenhagen Congress. Everyone has voted. I don't have more details about did Jean sing along with the birds, because birds is indeed the right answer. Congratulations. And we got a picture of this amazing band. So Dans and Lair is an electronic music group from Copenhagen. And they're mixing electronic sounds and real bird songs. So who's the big winner for the quiz, the intermezzo quiz? Vote Goat with 5,749 points. Where are you? Vote Goat. Who are you? Show yourself so we can make noise for you. Oh, it's a shy winner. Well, I think we're all set. We're all ready. The microphones are connected. Everyone, all the beautiful faces are on stage already. All the other beautiful faces are almost all seated. So, please, to sit down, get ready for the election of the leading candidates. And I would like to give the floor back to Benedetta as soon as we are ready. Are we all ready? Benedetta? 1 more minute? We need 1 more minute. Okay. So, I didn't prepare any joke. So I was considering more giving you a minute of silence. So you can sit back, take your chairs, make sure you got your voting devices, and I will be back as soon as we're ready. Oh, and the mic is almost connected now. I thought it was done. So, very important. Thank you, Giovanna, for telling me. If you are voting, please come closer to the stage. As we said earlier, we really want to make sure that your voice is recorded, that your voice is heard, and that your voting will be registered. So if you're voting, come as close as possible to the stage. So does everybody have their voting devices? Has everybody found a seat closer to the stage to make sure they can vote? Welcome back, or welcome for the people who are just joining us. I'm sorry, I promised you moment of silence, and actually I just can't keep quiet. Benedetta, ready for you? Well, dear audience, are you ready? Yes? I'm afraid you fell asleep a little bit. We're going to need a lot of energy. So are you ready? Benedetta, the floor is yours.
Thank you, but I normally do this directly from the table, but I've never been introduced for a vote with such enthusiasm, so thank you very much.
I'll come with you so I can get my microphone back.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. So we begin this part of this morning in a very nice ambiance. Thank you to everybody for organizing this morning. Please sit. We need the attention of everybody. If everybody can come in the room, because it's a very important moment. We need really your attention. Thank you. And we will begin with Benedetta, who will explain the procedure first.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello again, everyone. You might have heard, no, none of you heard it this morning because you were not there at 8:30. Only Austrian, Maltese, Swedish, and Grun were there. So I have to repeat again the procedure. No, I'm joking. I didn't name and shame, but this time I named and put in value the delegations who were there. So in the upcoming vote for the leading candidates, only the EU full member parties will and can vote. Therefore, the number of the allocated votes for the election of the leading candidates is 368 votes. For information, 4 of the votes have not been allocated due to suspension of voting rights, and 4 votes could not be delivered this morning. So in total, we have 368 allocated votes. The majorities needed for the election of the leading candidates is a simple majority, 50% plus 1 of the votes cast. The majorities needed are indicated in the voting list, so we will stick to a simple majority of the votes cast. The voting procedure will be as follows. If one candidate gains more than 50% of the votes cast in the first round, the person is elected. Should no candidate gain more than 50% of the votes in the first round, a second round will be run between the 2 highest scoring candidates. The candidate who receives more than 50% of the votes cast in the second round is elected. We are now going to do a test vote to establish the quorum, and I will give the floor to Bert. As I said earlier in the earlier voting session, the closer the people with the delegates with voting devices can be to the stage, the better it is, because of the connection of the devices. I heard that somebody lost their device, which, I mean, you really needed some ability to lose their device between 9 and, but it's solved. So, congratulations to you for solving the problem.
Okay, good morning again. Some people from Holland knows me, so they applause. You all are allowed to applause. So, okay, for the second time, as soon as we start to vote, you will see the text, you can vote now. Then the system is open. You can press number 1, number 2, number 3, or 4 or 5. You will see the number of your chosen choice in the screen, and the vote is cast to the system. What I've done with the red button, I've disabled it. So you can press on it if you want, but it doesn't work. So from now, please press exactly the button you want, because you can't change your number. I will go behind the curtains and I will start the vote. Success. Any questions? No? Success. Okay, I will start the vote. You can vote now. The number is rising. I hope all the candidates are in the room.
The people that are still outside. Yeah, but
We need a few more votes.
they have to vote.
So please press.
Yeah, we're almost there.
Is 2024 a leap year? Yes, no, or I don't know, / abstain. We need still a few votes more, so
Okay. Bert, do you want to tell us who are the delegations that have issues, or
okay.
just individuals?
I will see which delegates it will be. Yeah,
Exactly. If you need to have a coffee, just. I mean, 13 votes is fine, but it's fine, huh? But just
Yeah.
Only during we are waiting. So
Karen Maas from
okay.
Groen. 90.
we are naming exactly the people now. So.
No names?
No, you can. No, they know who cannot vote. Who is not voting.
Okay. Marjoleins Bayen from ALV.
Individual members of delegation, we don't have any problem with a specific delegation as a whole, so that's already good. In case you see members of your delegation who should be here but are not, can you please send them a message that they should come in? I mean, we can proceed with this number of votes. Of course, the quorum is there. We have a very high number of votes. But we think it's important to proceed once all the delegates can express their vote. Of course, so if you still have a couple of delegates that are not here, please send them in, or that are not down enough, and then send them down. And also, please never push the red button. I said it earlier, but I will say it again. Don't push the red button, otherwise your vote is cancelled, and our life is at risk. So,
Okay.
Now
you.
we will proceed to a second vote, no? To
Would you
see-
close the vote?
let's do another test vote to see if everyone came in now.
So we do again. People who are not there, we put the names on the screen, of course.
That's Evelyn's way.
Okay, you can vote now again. And as mentioned earlier, the red button is disabled.
Everybody is voting again, please. You call the people who are not there in your delegation, I hope. Otherwise, we do without them.
It's less than before.
We were 11 off, now we're...
Bert, you give me information. Is it okay
Yes.
or not?
We are processing it.
Because they begin to be nervous. I feel that.
We do it on purpose.
36 outstanding.
Some delegations of the Green Germany are not voting. And French Greens. The Dutch and the French. Sorry, the German and the French.
It must be us who really say the vote is open, the vote is closed, because this guy you can't understand. Okay. Now.
We've got a fewer number of votes. We still have 32 outstanding. Can the last delegates please vote?
Please press the button of your desired choice.
And if you are at the back of the room, your device will probably not work. You need to come closer. If you're at the back of the room voting with your devices, it doesn't work in the back rows. Sorry, the back rows, you need to come forward. If you have a voting device, it's too far away. You need to come closer.
Please come closer. Okay, I think we close the vote and we proceed because...
Okay, Bert, we close the vote.
Okay, shall we close the vote? The close will be voted now. So this is the result.
Okay. Now,
Okay.
no, it's Ed who starts.
So, only to explain, yesterday you accept the presidium with Jean, Ed, Horace, and me. So, as you can imagine, we divide the work. So, Ed and me, we are chairing this morning, and tomorrow morning, Horace and Jean, but we stay together around the table. So, I give you the floor, Ed, for
Thanks
the
very
first
much.
part.
Thanks, Evelyn. I'll be chairing the session for the election of the first female leading candidate. So there will be 3 candidates in this. And best of luck to all of them. Those candidates are Elena Pinto, Terry Ranka, and Benedetta Scuderi. So those names are going to be... Okay. I'm just going to make it clear to you the procedure here. What we're going to do is we're going to have the 3 names up on the screen. If one of those candidates secures 50%, that candidate is deemed elected. If not, then we'll proceed to a vote of the 2 highest ranked candidates, and we'll take a second vote. So is that clear? I'm going to ask everyone to start voting very shortly. I'm going to ask Bert to open up. Okay, if everyone can just keep it down now, this is the important part. This is what we're here for. So hush now. So shush. Okay, so 3 candidates going to be up on the screen. Voting using your numbers. Let's get 100% of the vote. That's 368 votes. Let's make sure every vote is included. So the candidates are up on the screen now, and I'm going to ask Bert to open the vote. The vote is open. Let's keep voting. We're almost there. I've been corrected. The maximum is 364, so we've very, very few votes outstanding. Let's get the 8 votes that are outstanding. Come on, people. Let's get the last votes in. It just makes the math easier for me, so I kind of need your help. 6 votes outstanding. Final chance. Final chance. And the vote is closed. Wow. Be better. Okay, so congratulations to Terry Ranka, who is elected as the first female leading candidate for the European Green Party campaign. Congratulations, Terry. I'm going to ask Bert to put the result back on screen because I do have to read it out for the minutes officially. So if we could have the result back on the screen, please, Bert, if possible. Okay, so that result is Elena Pinto with 88 votes, Terry Ranka with 197, 55% of the votes, and Benedetta with 72, and 1 abstention. So the total amount of votes was 358. And congratulations again to Terry Ranka. So that does mean, of course, that Elena and Benedetta do go through to the next round. And for that, I'm going to hand you over to my co-presidium, Evelyn. Go ahead, Evelyn.
Yes, you have work to do more now for the second tour. So Basicot is now also running. And we have to ask to Elena and Benedetta, let us know whether you want to run for this election or not. Benedetta, yes. Elena? Go on. Wonderful. Well done. So, now it's your turn for this second tour. You have to select one of the 3. Bas, Elena, Benedetta. Or abstention. Okay. I confirm the vote is open. I repeat, normally we have 364 persons who vote. Don't push the red button, say Benny. She's really very anxious with this red button. Go on, go on, go on. 364, 364. We don't go over 360, 57, no, 57.
Somebody's waking up.
Yeah. Who is under the table or under the chair? No? No, no, hey. I want to make more than Ed.
You already did. He was at 358.
I win. Okay. Okay, we close the vote. Please sit down. I have to follow the procedure. So I have to read it for the minute. So Bas Eckhout has 204 votes, so it's 57%. Benedetta Scuderi, 80 votes, 22.3%. And Elina Pinto, 74. It's 20.7, I don't know how to say virgule, and one abstention. And now, yes, please return your voting devices to the foyer outside at the end of the session. Thank you, Benedetta. And now, I call not the leading, the Spitzenkandidat, but Melanie and Thomas on the stage, please. And we disappear.
Thank you.
The thing is that I'm going to call Terry so that she can come on stage.
That means it's my turn to call Bas Eckhout on stage. Bas, come out. Come. You got some flowers already. How comes? There you go. Congratulations, Bas.
They turn it off on the table.
Come. Yes. Yes, it's time to take some pictures now. Come. Can the committee please join us? Can the committee please join us? We need to take some photos now.
The member of the committee.
And all together, we're gonna have a nice photo.
Can I also call Elina and Benedetta on stage and ask you to applaud them?
That's for you. This is for you. Congratulations, Elina. Congratulations. Thanks for running. This was a real hard choice, I would say. What excellent candidates that we have. Thanks so much for running. It was a hard choice for many of you, I know. We'll do it this direction. So we have all of you on the picture.
Now, can we have the four of you? Yes, that's what they want.
Okay.
Sorry, other people.
Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you very much. Now I'm asking the committee to leave. You were amazing. Thank you very much. And I'm asking Jesse Klaver, who is the proud party leader of Bass Party, to come on stage. Normally he's there. He's coming. Thank you. So we can have a picture. Yes, sir. Picture.
Call on stage the Secretary General of German Greens, Emily Bünning. Well, congratulations to your candidate.
And now we are going to call on stage the national leading candidates that we have here in the room, because we also have a lot of leading candidates from national lists who are there. And I'm starting with Austria. We have the honor to have Lena Schilling with us today, this famous climate activist.
For Belgium, I call on Saskia Brikmont. Please join us. MEP in the European Parliament.
Now we have, from the Czech Republic, Joanna Dešnedlova.
Here she comes, here she comes. And for Denmark, the Spitzencandidate of SF Danish Greens, Kira Marie Hansen. Please join us.
And from France, I'm asking you to applaud Marie Toussaint.
And for our friends from Hungary, Párbeszéd, I call on former MEP Bence Jávor. Please come on stage.
Now we have the people who want to make it difficult, so it's Ireland, because they won rugby yesterday, whatever. But they don't have one leading candidate, they have three. It's like this. So it's Kieran, it's Grace, and Pauline. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, Pauline. Go for the photo, go for the photo. Yes, 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 yes. Fantastic. And for Latvia, our Latvian friends from Progressivia, Elina Pinto.
And now we have the fantastic leading candidate from Luxembourg and also an amazing DJ from time to time, Tilly Metz.
And from Malta, Maltese Greens, Sandra Gauci. Please join us on stage. She's coming, here she comes.
And now from Slovenia, Vladimir Prebelic. Hey.
Welcome on stage, man. Welcome. Come on. There you go, please. And from Sweden, Alice Bakuntke.
And now I'm calling on stage a lot of people because we have, I'm sorry. Now I'm calling on stage from Spain, Flora Marcellesi.
Okay, super. And to complete the picture, the next generations, the FYG participants, also in the Young Candidates platforms, come up on stage, please. Now read the names out. Vanya Kaufmann, Susanna Pavelkova, Julia Sangiero, Peter Dubrovsky, Mina Jaktolo, Benedetta Scuderi, Lena Schilling, Magnus Flansberg, Amy Winhandy, Florian Chebul, Kira Marie Peter Hansen, she's here already, Emily Schenker, Faustas Rosniti, Francisco Paupeterio, Vivian Dreams, Rosa Dom, and Lea Chalet. This is all candidates you can vote for in European elections from the Young Candidates platform. Welcome on stage. Please come and join our picture. Ja, genau. Lead candidates to hold their speeches. So please take the floor and give us the messages we need for this election campaign. The floor is yours. Please, Terry.
Thanks a lot. Okay, so I suppose I start. Once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for this election. And I want to say something personal, because being in the EGP is always very personal to me. I don't come from a very political family, and it's not that, you know, my parents, since I was little, always told me, okay, you are going to stand in the spotlight and be a politician. But ever since I have come to events of the European Green Party, I have been part of this European Green family, there have always been people who believed in me. And this means the world to me. I wouldn't be the politician that I am today without all of you, and I will be internally thankful for this. Thank you so much for this election. I can tell you I will put my heart and soul into this election. Thank you so, so much. I want to use this opportunity to speak about something which apparently is very important to all of us. It's standing there. It's courage. And I want to basically talk about the courage that I think we will need for the election campaign that is ahead of us. But before I go into this, I want to speak about two people who, together with Bas and me, had a lot of courage. Because putting forward a candidacy in an election like this is not something that you just do. You need to have courage to do that. So I really want to thank Elina and Benny for doing that. You have been fantastic contenders, and we are so happy that you ran in these elections. Thank you so, 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 so much. But I also want to speak about other people who have shown courage, and one of them was on stage here yesterday, Svetlana Tikhanovskaya, who is one of the people in Belarus who is standing up to brutal oppression. We have hundreds of people in prison. We have hundreds of people, thousands of people all across the world who are political prisoners. We have women in Iran who are standing up to oppression. We have people all across the world that are fighting for freedom. And I want to make sure that in this election campaign, as Greens, we say, we are your allies. We are standing by your side, no matter where you are from, no matter where you are. We are in Europe, but all across the world, the voice that fights for freedom, that fights for democracy, and that fights for human rights. So this goes out to all the world. Greens stand by the side of the people that are fighting for freedom. But I also want to speak about the courage of the brave Ukrainians who are standing up against a brutal aggressor. We know that the Green Deal is not only about climate policy, it is also about our common security. And the people who are defending our security and our freedom in Europe right now are most of all Ukrainians. And I want to make sure I want to make sure that there is one thing that is crystal clear that comes from this Congress. Greens will stand by the side of Ukraine no matter how long it takes. We are there. We are in solidarity with you. We see your struggle. And we are not giving up fighting for you. But also inside of Europe, there are hundreds of thousands, millions of people who are showing courage. The wonderful women in Poland that I've already paid tribute to yesterday, lesbians in Italy who are standing up to anti-LGBTI policies, in Hungary, the LGBTI community, the millions of people who are shaping our democracies every day. And yes, today we know that there is a very big demonstration that is going to happen in Berlin. But I especially want to basically declare this moment, devote this moment to the people in the small villages, the people that are standing up, for example, in Eastern German villages, where there is a big majority that is voting for AfD, and these people in the last weeks have taken to the streets, sometimes only in the dozens, sometimes in the hundreds, but these are the people that we have to support. These are the people that are shaping our democracies, that are defending our values, and these people are the ones that are showing exactly this courage. But I also want to speak about the courage of those people who speak up about children who grow up in poverty, who go to school without having had breakfast, who are still struggling with their livelihoods. And I want to make sure that in this election campaign, we are going to stand up to this cycle of inequality, because Europe has to do more. And we know, and everybody in this room knows, that having austerity again is not the answer to this. We have to stand up to the dogma and the ideology of austerity. We are going to fight for a socially just Europe that is leaving no one behind, that stands up against poverty, and that gives people hope and a vision for a better life. But you know what also takes courage? It takes courage to change our ways. For example, to make steel with renewable energy, or to invent new methods of producing items without using polluting chemicals. Or, for example, to do sustainable agriculture, to redesign the way how we are building our inner cities so that they are also more accessible to bikes. Or to create millions of jobs that the green transformation can bring. All of this deserves courage, and I want us to be the ally of all of those people who are already doing that as we speak, because EPP and the Liberals are wrong when they say that the Green Deal is something that goes against our economy. The Green Deal is going to be the basis of a future economy that is built within the boundaries of this planet, that is built on social justice, and that is the kind of economy that we are going to fight for in this election campaign. But I also want us, all of us, to have courage to go out of our comfort zones in this election campaign. I want us to speak to people that we are usually not speaking to, people from heavy industry, people from areas that feel abandoned, people who might not be convinced of green ideas yet. I think that we have the concepts, that we have the empathy, that we have the abilities that it needs to convince these people, and this is the kind of courage that I want all of us to have in this election campaign, to stand up for what we believe in, and I'm sure with the support of all of you that we are going to make that. And lastly, and I have to say it one more time because many of you know that this is something that is very close to my heart, I think that there is a real threat that on the 10th of June we are going to have a surge of the far right in the European Parliament. There is this threat, we cannot deny it. But I think Ernest was speaking today, when we look at Poland, when we look at other examples, that one thing has also been proven. If we give up now and just believe that it's going to happen anyway, we are going to lose. But if we stand up to the surge of the far right, like the millions of people are doing across Europe already, then it is absolutely clear that we can turn this around. We can win back the momentum, move forward on the Green Deal, stand up for our values, for social justice, and against the far right. And this is the kind of election campaign that I want to run with you. I have all my energy to run an election campaign that does that and to stand with you for an equal, for a social, for an ecological Europe. I know that we can win, and I want to fight side by side with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Terry Reinke. That's a way to open up, right? First of all, I really would like to thank Benny and Elina for a great campaign and a really tough campaign. And I was really, I'm not going to swear, I was nervous, leave it to that. I was really nervous, but it was a great campaign, and it shows we can campaign, we are a green family, and I'm proud to be a green family, and I'm proud to have done this campaign together with you, Terry, Elina, Benedetta. Thank you very much. And thank you, of course. Thank you for your trust and making me proud to be part of this green family. It's really always great to be back home. And you come sometimes from circumstances in your countries where sometimes you might feel alone. But then we see here how strong this family is, how strong we are united, and how strong we can be if we stay united and going to pick this fight together. Thank you very much for that. And we have something to be proud of. We really have something to be proud of. And I want to mention a couple of examples which really defines the green courage and something to be proud of. First of all, and I see in the room, and I'm thankful for that, Judith Sargentini, but also Gwen, when heads of state were just cozying up with Viktor Orban, they were fighting to get Article 7 being launched in the European Parliament. That's green courage. Thank you. But what also makes me proud is when I see an election campaign in Germany where Annalena Baerbock is explaining to boring old white men, P.S., thank you for your support. But where Annalena Baerbock is explaining exactly what the danger of Nord Stream 2 is, and you see these two old men looking at her, woman, we will tell you about politics later on, but she was right from A to Z. That's green courage. And I'm proud to be in Lyon. I seldomly speak French. Mon français, c'est terrible. Alors, c'est plus facile pour moi de parler en anglais. Alors, je préfère de parler en anglais. So I continue in English. This was for you, Marie. This was for you, Marie. But I'm proud to be here in Lyon, in France, where this country, being obsessed with nuclear power, and where everything is breathing nuclear power, and where Macron is only doing one thing in Brussels, is strengthening nuclear power. Here we are fighting against that, and that is green courage. Merci les Francs. So I'm proud to really start this campaign, and it will be an uphill battle. Terry already said it, and we said it more. It will be a tough campaign. It will be a campaign where the extreme right will go for their message of hatred and exclusion. We will have our liberal democracies being challenged, and the conservatives, they will fight for walls around a backward-looking museum where we think our polluting combustion engine is still something to hold on to. That's the setting of a campaign that we are going to fight. And I am proud to be part of that family that is going to fight for a Green Deal 2.0. A Green Deal that is truly circular and clean. A Green Deal that provides us an innovative new industry, a green industry. And a Green Deal that is really going to change our agriculture system. that is delivering honest earnings for our farmers, that is that we don't need pesticides anymore that are causing Parkinson for the same farmers, and where the retailers don't get all the profits. Because that's our Green Deal. A Green Deal is only a Green Deal when it's a socially just Green Deal. We want big polluters to pay the price for what they are polluting. We want the wealthiest elite to contribute to our society what they should. And where everyone in this transition will have the right for a decent job and can afford a good house and is also looking forward to pay and to get your education, your healthcare, and your pension that you deserve. That's the real socially just Green Deal that we are fighting for. And yes, there is fatigue. There is fatigue about all these policies. But I think Svetlana said it yesterday very clearly. In Belarus and Ukraine, you can't afford such a fatigue. And they are fighting for our democracy. And as Terry said, we will always stand by your side. So we will stand for our democracy. We will fight the fascists. We will fight for inclusion and tolerance. And we will fight for our future. I'm really looking forward to a campaign that will show that 2024 is the year of courage, our green courage. Let's make this our bloody good campaign. I'm looking forward. Let's do it together. Thank you.
Congratulations again, Terry and Bas. Well, this is it for this very intense and emotional morning. There has been a lot. So now I think it's time for everyone to have a break, have a lunch, but don't leave yet because I've got a few very practical and important informations to tell you. So first of all, if you still have your voting device, if you have headphones for the simultaneous translation, don't take them away with you outside. Leave them at the table outside of the room. I mean, not outside of the Congress Center, but outside of the room, you can. Please bring them back to where you took them. Thanks a lot. That's a very important thing already. Then I will also invite you to check for the rooms of your sessions of the afternoon on the website. Just make sure, just have a look. You got the QR code on the back of your badge. Just have a look at the website to make sure the room where you're supposed to go is the one that's announced. I don't know if I make myself clear, but just make a quick check before heading to your session rooms for this afternoon. So I remind you too that in the catering area, you will always have the possibility to meet the painter, Osmo, and to check in with the VR team while eating, after eating, before eating, or during breaks. And if I have to remember one thing from this all morning is whether you be a dermatologist or a world leader, don't press the red button. See you again this afternoon and thank you for your attention. Bye-bye. And people on stage, you're free to go. Thank you.
Bonjour tout le monde. Hello everybody. Welcome to this press conference just after the vote who was a bit ahead of schedule. The structure will be very classic. First of all, Melanie will say some words on the importance of the leading candidate process for the Greens. Melanie va expliquer en quoi ce processus est très important pour les Verts. And then we will have introductory statements of our two new leading candidates, Bas and Terry. And that will be followed by questions from all of you. Thank you very much.
Okay, hello everyone, thanks for being there. I just wanted to start with a very short introduction about why we are here and why we are organizing this big Congress. First of all, to tell you that it's the biggest Congress we have ever organized. We have more than 1,200 people in this Congress. It's a Congress where, and you saw it during the session, I think, and you will see it if you stay tomorrow during the vote. We managed to show our unity as a family. I think we have always been and will remain the most united European family. This is the case even if we have been growing and changing as a family, because since 2019 we have entered into different national government. We are currently in 7 national governments. You have seen some session with our ministers explaining what the Greens are already delivering, also with mayors today. And this unity is just exactly the same and maybe even stronger, even though we are growing and strengthening. In this Congress, we are also doing other exciting stuff, like adopting our manifesto. This is going to be our common framework for this campaign and also the common priorities for this campaign. And I'm sure you will see by the results of the vote tomorrow that the family is very, very united on both the manifesto, which is a pretty big piece of text, contrary to other political families that tend to have really few pages because it's not so easy to agree on everything. We really managed to cover all the field of policies and also common priorities, which means that we not only agree on the topics, but also on where we want to go as a family. And the other thing that we did that is also very important to us is to elect our leading candidates. Now, I think you know, the leading candidate process that started in the EU in 2014 is today and still remains the only tool you can give as European politicians to citizens to have a say about who will become the Commission president. There is no other tool we have. In 2014, it was a success story for the European democracy. 2019, everybody who followed the EU politics remember. And the Greens stand still behind this because we believe in a transparent and democratic way to choose, because we believe that we have to use the only tool we have, and that if we, the most pro-European force in the European political landscape, give up on this, then it's over. So since the beginning, we have stand firmly behind it, and we have designed a democratic, transparent process, and this process led to the election of those 2 wonderful leading candidates who will be the face of our campaign. I hand it over to Tom, who is going to talk to you about something also very important that we did during this Congress. And yes, we did it already today.
Yes, we did indeed. Thank you, Melanie. First of all, just a short addition to the Spitzencandidate process, just to make one thing clear. We're advocating for the person that has led a political party that finds a majority in the European Parliament to stand the Commission president. So this may be somebody from another political party, or it may be one of our 2 Green contenders. Whoever finds a majority shall be nominated for the Commission president. And we're having a substantially different situation than 2019. The fact is that we're meanwhile covering all EU states. Little exception is Slovakia, but all except Slovakia, everywhere citizens will have a choice to vote Green and progressive. all over the European Union. So that has substantially changed. Secondly, as mentioned by Melanie, we are in 7 governments, and we have shown to citizens what happens if Greens take responsibility. We have shown to citizens that we deliver on content, we deliver on what we have been campaigning on, and that we're able to deliver also in coalitions that might not always be easy. So there's a substantially different situation also for our Spitzenkandidates, with I would say, massive backwinds in the sales. And with this motivation and with this optimism, we're going into these elections. And over to Terry.
We decided that Bas takes the floor first because I gave the speech first. So we have a very equal way of working with each other.
Very equal relation, of course. Good afternoon, everyone. I think we both will be short because you've heard already our speeches and many things that we said already in the interview yesterday. So we're not going to repeat that. I think what I would like to add here now is that I hope you all felt the energy in that room. Because I know that sometimes the feeling is a bit like, well, it's going to be a tough campaign. But you do see and you do feel here, this is a very strong, united family and ready to campaign. And that energy we are going to translate to the streets. And we are very much looking forward to do that campaign starting today. And we will continue until June to really bring that strong green social message forward. And we are really motivated. And I would say feel the energy and you will keep on feeling that this campaign will make sure of that. Thank you.
I think in that spirit, as you know, when we look at the situation right now, and it's unfortunately across the European Union, probably the next month we are going to have a quite challenging political debate. We know that there is a far right that is growing in a lot of member states of the European Union. But I think also with the spirit that Bas described, we are ready to take up this challenge. We want to be a strong political force in the next European elections. We want to get even bigger than we are. We are right now with the biggest green group that we have ever been in the European Parliament, and we want to top that even. And for us, it is important that obviously we are a political force that comes from the streets. We have been fighting in demonstrations for a lot of very important political demands. But now, and Tom has mentioned it, we are in a number of EU governments, and also the role that we have been playing in the last 4 years in the European Parliament, I think it's clear to everyone that we are also ready to take responsibility. And this is, for us, going to be also in this campaign a very important point, that the things that we are saying, we are not only saying them, screaming them from the sideline, but we are actually the political force that also goes into the difficult negotiations and then brings home the important wins. The last very obvious example that you probably have all heard of, that we fought for also very specifically, Bas and I, was the nature restoration law, and in this spirit we want to run this campaign. Obviously a very mobilizing campaign, a very energetic campaign, but also a campaign with a clear vision of sitting at the table, negotiating, and then also influencing the policies for the next 5 years.
Yes, thank you all. If there are any questions, please raise your hands. Yes, go ahead.
Hello, my name is Context.
Don't they need a microphone?
Yeah, can you hear me? I can try to speak a bit louder.
I just think for the interpreters.
Is there a volunteer or somebody?
Yes. Can someone from the staff do the distribute the mic?
It's open? Okay. Yes, I wanted to, a question actually on your last sentence. You want to influence the next mandate of the Commission and the Parliament. So how do you want to influence it? Do you think you should be part of a majority, support a next maybe coalition, so-called von der Leyen, or, and under which conditions would that be?
Shall I start?
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, this Congress is not over now. The Congress is continuing, and as was mentioned, tomorrow we are going to decide on a manifesto, on a program, and also on priorities that we want to put forward. And obviously, any kind of negotiation that might happen after the election will be based on these priorities. And as you can see, obviously, there will be a very a clear Green Deal focus because the Green Deal is under heavy attack. But we also make sure that in terms of fighting for social justice, higher wages, better working conditions for Europeans, we are going to be a force to be reckoned with in these negotiations. And I think if you have followed a little bit the debates, you could also clearly hear that when it comes to defense of rule of law, democracy, standing up to people like Viktor Orban, we will definitely have demands on the table. That is to be decided eventually by the European Green family tomorrow. But these issues that will be in the priorities will then be the starting point for the negotiations. And we don't know how the election is going to go, so it's always a little bit of a speculative question about how will majorities look like. But as I said, and I think that this is also not something that anybody in the European Parliament is surprised by. We are a political force that stands for a critical but constructive way of doing politics. So yes, we are ready to go into negotiations and then also to become part of a majority.
Maybe just to add on to that, I think this is going to be the most important question for the EPP, right? We are very clear. We will never go into a coalition where the far right is. We will never do that. And I think it's about time that the EPP is going to answer to that question very clearly, because they need to make a choice. Do they want to go and look to their right, or do they want to look to their left? And on their left, they can find us, and we are ready to negotiate, but you know our program. But if they look to our right, we will not be part of that, and we will go against that. And so I think it's about time it becomes clear there. Who is now leading the EPP? I'm lost a bit, but let's hope that somewhere in this campaign it becomes clear.
Yes, Lucas from Table Media.
Thank you. Thierry Renke, you said that the goal is to increase the numbers of seats. If you look at the polls and the projections, especially in France and Germany, it seems like it's more a fight of how big or how little the decrease of seats is going to be. So what's going to be different in the strategy during the campaign and the run-up to the election compared to last time in 2019? Thank you.
Well, I remember the campaign in 2019 quite well, and a couple of months before the election, it also looked that we would massively decrease in the European Parliament, and then it turned out we didn't. We became the biggest group that we ever were. So we are going to fight for that, and I can tell you for Bas and me, but I think for the whole EGP with all the energy that we have. As I said, it's not going to be an easy campaign. We are fully aware of that. There are a lot of political narratives that are very specifically targeted at us. We obviously take criticism and also discuss about our positions as we do here. But at the same time, I believe we also have shown in the past that when we pick that up, now, for example, with the agricultural debates, that we can also convince people that we were the ones who were actually fighting against this common agricultural policy, that we want to have an agricultural policy on the European level that gives subsidies to especially small-scale farmers on the basis not only of the size of their farms, but also on, for example, conditions like social issues, like ecological issues. So we believe that we have good concepts to convince people, and with this kind of spirit, we are going to run this campaign. And if you were present today, it is true that, with some of the member parties that we have, maybe we are not polling as high as we had a result in 2019, but we are welcoming more and more political parties in the European Green Party. We now have the colleagues from Latvia who joined 1 year ago. They are already in the government in Latvia. It's very likely that we are going to have, or hopefully we are going to have MEPs from Latvia. We have a similar situation in Croatia. We have a lot of other countries where we have welcomed new parties inside of the political family. And with this reinforced also geographical diversity, because you know that right now the group is very much from the north and the west of Europe, with more support from the east and the south especially. We hope that we can not only consolidate on a high level, but become even bigger.
Okay, Luis from Party, and then...
Yeah. So I don't know if it works.
Yeah, just talk.
Just speak into it.
Okay,
and then,
great.
Yeah.
So I'm Luis from Party, and then we cover actually more the campaign side. So my question is about the current protests that were happening actually in France, in Germany, in the Netherlands, and then my question is actually in this climate, there is a lot of misinformation that is going towards the farmer community, and then a lot of people in the agricultural industry, they actually are getting not the message that the Greens are actually fighting for them. And then my question is on the campaign, how do you have plan to maybe fight these threats that are obviously interventionist, and then they're a threat to democracy?
Shall I? Yeah. Maybe to start off with, because the first reaction of a lot of center politicians like Ursula von der Leyen is to immediately show, I'm going to talk to the farmers, and then she's going to talk to Copa-Cogeca. Then you're not talking to the farmers, then you're talking to the chemical industry, you are talking to the pharmaceutical industry, you are talking to the fertilizer industry. Those are not the farmers. And I think we will talk to the farmers, not to the agro industry that is pretending to represent the farmers when they are in their Brussels bubble. I think this is one key thing. Get out of the Brussels bubble and really talk to the farmers. And for example, if you look at the organization of the young farmers, the future, they are making very clear, we understand we need to change, but we want to have a clear vision from politicians that doesn't change on a daily basis. And see what this week happened. There's a protest, and what are politicians doing, like Macron, or also at the European Union? We're changing one law, and now you should be happy. That's exactly creating the unclarity, what their problem with. But the second biggest problem is, how can they have an honest earning? At this moment, we have had a European policy that is only making large-scale farming larger. As already said, 80% of the direct income goes to the 20% of the richest farmers. We have been campaigning against. And all these politicians that now are pretending to be on the side of the farmers, they defended this model where the richer get richer. And that is not helping, because at the same time, it's the supermarkets, it's the retailers, they are getting the benefits, they are getting the profits. This is really an obsolete model, and I do understand very well if now you will say to a farmer who feels this pressure and is with the back against the wall, and then you say, yeah, I want you to change, then of course the first reaction is, well, maybe not. But those that say, yeah, I want to change, but then I need to know where to go to, and can you help me, and can you make sure that I can do an honest living? And that's exactly where the Greens are fighting for consistently. And we are going to bring that message exactly to the farmers outside the Copa-Cogeca bubble.
Can I also, because for me this is a very emotional topic, because I come from a farmer's family myself. So my father grew up on a farm, and I still have a lot of uncles, aunts, cousins, great cousins who are actually on farms. And when I talk to them, you know, now there is this whole narrative that it's the Greens' fault that the farmers are suffering because there is too much regulation. But when I speak to, I mean, one of the people who supported my candidacy actually to run for being European leading candidate was my great cousin Eva, and she runs a small farm in Lower Bavaria. And she is completely in favor of climate and biodiversity protection. She says that, you know, I work with the soil, I know how much damage has already been done, so I need to have the support to make this change happen. And I think having these kind of interactions, exactly as Bas was saying, to go to the farms and to speak with the farmers, and then obviously, you know, to go to organic farmers, but also to go to conventional farmers, and to see that this whole system that we have built our agriculture on of the past decades is just not going to work anymore. This either you have to grow, or you're lost and you cannot live off your produce anymore, that this is not a system that can last. And I think this is the message that we want to go into the campaign with. We have always been very strong in the agricultural debate in the European Parliament, but also in the member states. It's a topic that is really close to our hearts. And this is why I think everybody, and you could feel that also here at the Congress, is very ready to go in, to listen to the concerns of the farmers, and then to find common solutions.
Okay, Lionel. Yeah. Hello, Lionel Julien, Arte. Two questions, if I may. First question: yesterday with your speech, you talk about contrary winds and these days for the Green Deals and the demonstration. So, what kind of message, or maybe it will change, you will deliver during the campaign during also maybe your mistake during the farm to fork strategy is, I don't know, so if you have a new strategy for that. And my second question, if you win, who will take the commission?
Maybe just to start off with the last one, I'm always for female commission presidents. So, and then we have had that one at least. And then on the first one here, exactly, this is the interesting one, farm to fork, right? When it was launched in 2020, all the political parties welcomed it. All the political families said, yeah, we support the farm to fork strategy. I think then they start reading it afterwards, I don't know. Because the farm to fork strategy was exactly that attempt, what I was talking about just now, the young farmers were asking for. Give us a vision where you want to go to. And basically the farm to fork strategy is that. But then you need to ask yourself the question, what did we do with the farm to fork strategy? Not so much. And then there was one law here, one law there, one law failed, the other one maybe, but was hollowed out, and that was it. If you now look at the reality of the farm to fork strategy, it's still a strategy on paper, but all the politicians that welcomed it and gave a signal to the farmers, hey, this is your future and this is the direction, then did not deliver on it. So those farmers who were like, okay, I need to go in that direction, maybe looking into how to do that, then was again being traded because nothing was changing. And this is exactly the problem. We politicians, well, I would say a lot of other politicians, are making great speeches and great promises, and when there is a green tide, then suddenly they talk green, but then when there is a bit of change, they immediately back off from it. Like now Macron saying, oh no, maybe pesticides are okay to use again. I mean, this is such an unpredictable behavior, and that is the problem. We Greens, we have a vision. We will stick to it, but we know that we will have to do it together with the farms, and we are happy and ready to do so. But they know where we want to go, and I think this is exactly the predictability and clarity that we need to give. And there are too many politicians who are changing course as soon as the wind is changing a bit. And that's our biggest problem as Europe in general, I would say. That would be my strategy.
Thank you very much. Jan Disseldorf for Süddeutsche Zeitung. In the recent years, you have rode a green wave that was launched by Ursula von der Leyen. You have not only been big in the parliament, you have been very successful. Now she's at least rhetorically shifting away from supporting the Green Deal, making concessions to her party family to gain their support. Will you still support her for a second term? Because like she has been your partner in recent years. Is she still your partner? And on what does it depend?
You know, I think Ursula von der Leyen did not propose the legislative package that she did because, you know, she's so green at heart and she just, you know, wanted to do it by herself. She did it because she could see that there was a massive demand coming from the streets, coming from political forces that were strengthened after the European elections in 2019. And I think she did it, you know, like there are good aspects of it, and it was right to do it, and we can, you know, very clearly say that. However, she's faced with a situation where if she's going to be leading candidate, which we don't know yet, she will face a political party behind her that is going completely against her own legacy, against the things that she has achieved. So I believe that if there is a chance to continue the Green Deal, it will only be if you will have strong Greens at the table who are going to push for it. And that is absolutely clear. And you can also imagine that if there is going to be no continuation of the Green Deal or even a reversion of the things that we have achieved so far, we are not going to be part of that. We don't want to take back things that we have fought for together with, you know, millions of Europeans, and then say, and in the next legislature we do the U-turn and support that. So for sure, this is going to be one of the most priority issues that we will put forward. But I think that there also is a political opportunity. So yes, it can go that way. They can take, you know, votes from the ECR, and they can try to appease parts of the EPP and go against the Green Deal, move further to the right. But there is another option, and I think this is for us the important message to be sent. We can also have a possibility where the Green Deal continues, where we continue on the path of implementing green policies, social policies, standing up for democracy and rule of law, and that's the offer that we are making as European Greens in this election campaign.
Okay, thank you. Are there any last questions? Lucas.
Didn't like the first answer.
Maybe just for clarification, who is the far right when, Bas Eickhout, when you said if von der Leyen is looking or the EPP is looking to the far right, who exactly is that?
Well, I mean, there was always a bit of a weird attitude by the EPP to say, okay, the ID we don't work with. By the way, they did work with then quite often, but officially they didn't. They did. And then, but ECR is okay. In ECR, you have Vox from Spain. That's for me far right. In ECR, you have the PiS party from Poland, on the edge. We now hear Orban might join. Well, good luck, EPP, to look to the ECR and still call them okay. So I think it's getting darker to the right of the EPP. So again, this is now also a question for the EPP. They pretend, some of them at least, to not work together with the far right. Where are they going to draw the line? Because I think the line is getting closer to their EPP group, and that we will make very clear. And if indeed Orban will join the ECR group, I don't think you can work with the ECR group anymore. And then EPP, you will have only one direction to watch, unless you are going to for a right-wing coalition. But then I wish them good luck, but that will not be with us.
But if they look towards the ECR, is that already the line for you to say they're talking to the far right and we're not part of that anymore?
You're now asking us to get into a kind of a setting where we are doing coalition negotiations which we do not even know. So I'm not going to, I mean, maybe we should now first say, let's first bring on this campaign. And as Terry said, there's a lot at stake. So this campaign matters and these elections matter. And then after these elections, we'll see, but I think we are very clear where we stand, and I think it's about time that we know where the other parties stand.
But if you ask the question if we would be part of a majority together with the ECR, we would not. That's, sorry, if I think that there was a little bit of an unclarity, but that's for us.
I think I said that already.
Yeah, I just wanted to.
Yeah, Lucia Schulten, Deutsche Welle. So we have also heard a lot about avoiding far right, fighting against the far right, and you just said you wouldn't go into a coalition with the EPP if you would have to go against the Green Deal. If you would have to make a choice, avoiding the far right by going into a coalition with the EPP, even though it would mean that some things of the Green Deal you would have to backtrack on, what would you do? Is climate still your core business, or is the avoiding far right now your core business?
Look, I have negotiated two governments, one with an EPP party, the CDU, and one with an SND and a Renew party, SPD and FDP. You cannot completely predict exactly how these negotiations are going to go. But I think they will know, if we go into these negotiations, that we will need to see progress on the Green Deal, that we will need to have certain elements that we discuss tomorrow to be part of it. And I think that then exactly how the negotiations are going, negotiations can also fail. We are not going to go for any cost, that's the point. And then there will potentially be a rearrangement, and then we will see. But these are a lot of ifs and buts. We will be ready on the 10th of June to see what the election result is, and then we are ready to negotiate. We will be prepared, I think, with the support from, hopefully, I mean, this is also speculation, but we hope that the manifesto and the priorities are going to get a majority tomorrow, and then this will be the base for our negotiations. But we are ready to take this responsibility.
And can I just challenge now again, right? I mean, look at our future industry. That is going to be one of the big issues for our future. How is our industry going to look like? And I'm telling you here, the Greens are more an allies of the industry than this unpredictable behavior of the far right and the right. For example, now the EPP wants to turn back the ban on the combustion engine. They want to turn it around. What's exactly your impact there? First of all, the car industry finally had a clear vision where to go to, where to invest in. Now they get a mixed signal again. Oh, maybe not. Secondly, do you really think by turning that back that then suddenly we are not going to import any Chinese electric car anymore? That is more efficient, that is cheaper eventually, and is in the end superior to the combustion engine. You can, of course, pretend that you are living in a museum, and that's what the right is doing, the conservatives. I'm not talking about the far right, I'm talking about the conservatives. Or you can see the Green Deal as the core for our future competitiveness. And it's very clear there will not be an industry if it not embraces and works on the Green Deal industry. And when some politicians are saying, we need an industry, we need not only a Green Deal but an industry deal, well, we are saying the Green Deal is your industry deal. And as I said, this clear vision, this direction, and we are willing to also put an investment program next to it, which is another problem if you talk to the conservatives, because investments maybe need something also on public investments. So that is exactly the fight we're going to take, and that is our message, and we are a better ally for the future industry than the conservatives. And why would we give that away in negotiations?
Just wanted to. Giulio Panarelli from L'Inchiesta, Italian Journal. We just wanted to ask a thing about the recent letter from civil public servants from Europe and the United States about Gaza and Israel. I wanted to know also your comments on this. Like, I don't know if you have heard. I guess you have heard about this.
Yeah, which letter exactly? That they are unhappy
the open
with
letter that they are unhappy about the foreign politics. Like, is there a position from you on this topic?
Well, I think you've heard Melanie yesterday in her speech making very clear demands where we stand on this matter. So I think we are very clear. And I think it is good when civil servants are making their opinion known. But I think the biggest vulnerability here is that you see how fragmented Europe is. So that we have, we have seen now UN resolutions, and you got all the colors from the European countries on voting there. And we understand very well where that comes from. However, this is not in the favor of a strong Europe. And in the end, a strong Europe is needed in order to have a two-state solution in Israel. And that's where we stand for. And that is the biggest challenge. And we know very well that we want the bloodshed to stop. We want the hostages being freed. That's exactly what we're fighting for. But in the end, we need a sustainable, enduring peace and a two-state solution. And we can only achieve that if we are credible as Europe, and if we are much stronger united as Europe. And now we are all over the place, and I think that is really a big concern as well.
Okay. Lionel?
Just a follow-up of the question of Lucas. When you answer about ECR, you don't talk about Fratelli d'Italia.
Okay, but if you want, I can use all the members. I can mention them.
It's an important member. So
I know, but I'm not. I know, but I'm not so sure where they are going to. They are a bit of an unpredictability at the moment. So I thought I don't even know whether they will be ECR later on. So I thought let's not mention them. But I'm happy to throw them in the bowl.
Okay, unless if there are still any questions, we can wrap it up. Just to we'll take one last one, and I already say that there will be the possibility, of course, as we announced, to one-on-one interviews with the leading candidates. Maïwen.
Okay.
It's good. You started and you end. It's nice.
I had a question on. So you're calling for a green and social deal now. So my question was how do you think? What can Europe do more to make the green transition fairer? And do you think that Europe is the right level to act on this topic?
Well, I think there are, of course, a couple of issues where we do see that sometimes you need unanimity if you're looking at that in some of the solutions, talking about taxation policies, talking about social policies, which are, of course, all need to be part of this entire answer on a green and social deal. But this is also why we are also very clearly saying that, of course, also how we govern Europe, that needs to change. Because at this moment, what we see too often is that the companies are profiting very much of an internal market where they can also get the cheapest labor in this internal market, but then at the same time they can choose the country where they collect the taxation. They can even do some tax evasion outside Europe so that their actual levels are close to 0%. And that altogether is not a social Europe. And I think what we have seen previously in the Green Deal was kind of, okay, then we throw in a fund at the end. But if you have a fundamental problem and then at the end you try to fix that with a fund, that's maybe not the most efficient way. And that's why we really say it should be at the core of your green and social deal. That's really where it starts, and you do not fix that by throwing in a fund at the end. And I think that is really, that's going to be our campaign. That sometimes also requires some changes in how we deal with Europe, but quite often it's also a matter of political willingness, right? I mean, you can have also European taxation if all the 27 countries agree. There's just no lack of willingness because some of the countries like this competition. But in the end, that competition is not in the benefit of us people. It's only in the benefit of mainly the multinationals. And I'm not sure that is the right way to go if you really want people to go along with the Green Deal.
And if I can add to that, I mean, you are obviously addressing a problem that we very often face, because the European Union has quite a lot of competence when it comes to, you know, making certain regulation when it comes to climate policy, whereas then having the balancing out with the much bigger national budgets, for example, that is supposed to happen on the national level. So in a way, we are kind of dependent on national governments making good policies. Some of them do, some of them don't. So and I think maybe even when we look across Europe, it's not done in a sufficient way. So I think what we will try, as Bas was hinting, to give Europe more responsibility and more possibilities, especially when it comes to taxation. But I think also we really have to push the limits of what we can already do now. I became an MEP in 2014, and I can tell you there were a lot of very, very experienced people who said that a minimum wage directive on a European level, that's impossible. It's so clearly in the treaties that this is something that the member states decide. And now we have a minimum wage directive. So I also think we need to take these examples where we can see sometimes with, you know, very obvious possibilities that we have in the treaties already today, but sometimes also with creative solutions, we have to do more, because the citizens demand more fairer policies also from the European level. And I mean, you will see tomorrow we have a lot of proposals in our manifesto. We are going to make this a priority. And, you know, especially for me, I come from a rather poor area in Germany. To have something that we also address to people who are struggling will be key for us in this campaign, because we don't want people to be left, be it because of changes due to climate change, or be it because of the social inequalities that we are already seeing in our societies anyway. So we are really going to make this a priority and really push the Commission to do more also in what can also be done, already be done today.
Okay. Thank you very much. Very interesting questions. Des questions très intéressantes. And the possibility for interviews, you can do it here. We would organize it first cameras and then written press, but take your time. We're still ahead of time.
Yes, we have to
Merci.
listen to each other all the time, Bas. It's going to be...
Oh no, not that again.
I know. But you have a more variety of what stories you tell. Like when you have the press conference with Philippe, he always tells exactly the same three stories, and it's like, Philippe, I think such a...
I try to do a bit of variation.
C'est la troisième sur ma liste.